Hello, my most amazing artists. How are you today? Are you ready to create? Awesome. Then let's get started. Now, a couple weeks ago, I sent you a message and I invited you to take my most amazing sculpture challenge. And if you haven't done it yet, that's okay. You can still do it. Today, we are going to be looking at sculpture. What is a sculpture? How do we make a sculpture? I invited you to start collecting things in your house, things that we could use to create a three-dimensional piece of art with. It could be anything from empty boxes to toilet rolls, paper towel rolls, empty cartons, lids to things, cereal boxes, maybe egg cartons, yogurt pots. You can clean things if they've had food in them and they need to be cleaned first, make sure you clean them. And then we can start sticking things or taping things or even just putting things on top of each other. They don't have to be taped or glued together. Now, a sculpture, a three-dimensional piece of art, can be any size. So it can be as small as this or smaller, or it could be really, really big, like, for example, the Statue of Liberty. It could be realistic. It could look like something we recognize, like the Statue of Liberty, or it could be abstract, meaning it doesn't necessarily look like anything. It can just be interesting shapes put together in interesting ways. It could be something that stands still, or it could be something that moves. That's called kinetic sculpture. So sculpture is really fun because it can look like all different things and it can be any shape, any size, made with any materials. And what I love about my most amazing sculpture challenge is we are also recycling materials, and that's fantastic for the environment. Now, before I show you my most amazing sculpture, I want to talk to you about a famous female American artist who called herself the original recycler. Let me introduce you to Louise Nevelson. Louise Nevelson was born in 1900 in Kiev, Russia, but at the age of 5, her family moved to the United States of America. Age 9, Louise Nevelson saw a sculpture of Joan of Arc at her local library, and upon seeing the statue, she decided she wanted to sculpt as well. And so that's what she set out to do until she achieved her dream. Louise lived in New York City for most of her life. She studied art there, as well as traveling over to Germany for a while. But in New York City, she wasn't very wealthy. She didn't have a lot of money. And she would often walk around the streets looking for wood that she could burn in her fire to keep her warm. While she was doing this, she began to collect not only wood for the fire, but collect objects and interesting things that she thought she could turn into sculptures. She found little wooden spoons and figures and bicycle wheels and shapes and textures. Anything suddenly became the potential for a piece of art. It was with these found objects, these recycled objects, that Louise made her sculptures, and she called her sculptures assemblages. She often would put them in box-like shapes and arrange them until she felt they looked just right. There was a sense of balance about them. And after she glued them together in the boxes, she would paint them one color, often black, sometimes white, and occasionally gold. This is called monochromatic, when it's all one color. In doing this, it changed the objects completely. When we look at her sculptures, we can still recognize things, but everything seems equally balanced. There's a harmony about them. Nothing stands out more than anything else. And our eye moves around her sculpture, looking at shapes and textures and seeing these objects as a whole new piece of art. Louise Nevelson is considered one of the most important 20th century artists. She was making art and sculptures at a time when it was mainly the men who were making art and considered the artists. And so she pioneered the way for female artists. And so we have a lot to thank her for. So what do you think of Louise Nevelson's assemblages? Do you like them? Do they inspire you to help you make your most amazing sculpture? Maybe you want to start collecting objects that you find and arranging them in cardboard boxes like she did. You could make your sculpture on your own, or you could make your sculpture with your family or with a sibling. It's completely up to you. I decided to make my sculpture with my daughter. We did it together as a collaboration. And so, here is what we turned our materials into. Let's begin.
Come da poca picchita va bene, se tu la parla miezza americano, quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna, come da bene in capo di I love you, papà l'americano.
As you can see, we decided to turn our materials into a little doggy, a little puppy. That was my daughter's idea. It can be realistic or it can be abstract. Here are some other images to give you some ideas to help you with your sculptures. You have lots of fun creating your three-dimensional piece of art. And don't forget, you don't have to make just one. You can make as many sculptures as you want to. Start collecting things. Make an assemblage. Make a really tall sculpture. Make a really small sculpture. Make a sculpture that can move, a kinetic sculpture. The possibilities are endless. But don't forget to take a picture of your creations so that I can see. All right, keep creating, my friends. See you soon.